Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so yeah, the Lakers, man, I was a little frustrated with us last night as a unit, and I'm even more frustrated with myself because I didn't check to see if it had uploaded last night. I made sure that I did my part, but the video, for whatever reason, just stayed stuck at loading mode as opposed to actually uploading. So that should have uploaded at this point. I found out about that this morning, so you guys are going to see a late upload with my reaction to that game last night. I recorded it on time, and like I said, I did my part, but it did not upload. It just stayed buffering all night, or whatever that mode is when it isn't quite uploading, but it's sitting there waiting to upload. Yeah, that's what it did all night long. So you guys can check that out. It should be up right now. But I was frustrated, man. I was frustrated because I thought we didn't do our homework as a unit. I know there could be some real reasons why the Lakers were not very good last night outside of just bad preparation. We had some deficiencies that were exposed with that type of lineup going up against the Spurs, who have a three-headed monster of guards, as I like to put it. And we've struggled with teams like that. Phoenix, Atlanta, those are the teams that have been able to have our number this year. Teams with guards that play hard and have speed and athleticism, or a combination of both. It becomes a problem for the Lakers because they really have Luka and Austin and Gabe. Those guys are not very athletic, not very fast particularly. They're methodical in how they move. They control pace. But they're not really good at keeping up with people who excel in fast pace. And so the Spurs made up their mind they were going to just speed past the Lakers. And it worked. It worked, putting forth Dylan Harper, having Stephon Castle now return, and of course De'Aaron Fox, a guy who we've always had trouble with. They were able to run past us, man, no problem. And it didn't help that they had some role players that were really shooting well, like Keldon Johnson and Julian Champagnie. It just became a very difficult situation for the Lakers last night. And we were embarrassed. Despite Wemby not being out there, we still got beat bad. And I felt like our team didn't attack them properly based on what it is I've been paying attention to. In regards to the Spurs, one of the things that they had reared its ugly head several times over the last couple of games is them hemorrhaging points in the paint. And I just felt like the approach that the Lakers should have had in this basketball game should have been feed the post. Go big, not small. Make them adjust to your big players because they haven't been able to do that against other teams. So if we had done our homework, in my mind, that would have been our approach, is to try to attack the paint more and worry about the three less, worry about matching up with them less, worry about defense even less to a degree, and just continue to try to drive at the rim. And I don't think we did that. There were a lot of things that I don't think we did right. Rui Hachimura had I wouldn't say the hot hand, but he only missed one shot. He only attempted like 4 shots. That's the bad version of Rui for us. We don't lose when Rui attempts 15 shots, 12 shots, because he's going to hit 9 of them. That's what he does. And he really doesn't do much else. So if you're going to have him out there and he's not attempting shots, you're not getting anything out of that player. So what's the point of having him out there if you're not going to focus in on making sure his volume is up? You know, we had such success against Philadelphia lobbing the ball. Despite them having bigs, we had real success against Toronto lobbing the ball, getting effective, easy buckets in the paint from our center position. I thought we went away from that severely trying to match up with a small team, dumbing ourselves down for them. If you try to use your small ball lineups against a team that runs, you don't have fast enough smalls to keep up with them. Doesn't give you an advantage. Yes, you want to match up in basketball. Basketball is a game where you want to match up. But if in doing so, I'm outclassed severely, then am I actually giving myself advantage at all? No, the answer is absolutely not. So does matching up make the most sense 100% of the time? Apparently it does not, if this is what you end up getting out of it. Now, I understand if you have your bigs out there and they're running their 5 smalls, you have a lot of things that can go wrong too. But ultimately, at least you have an opportunity at having the right players on the floor to attack the areas of weakness that the Spurs have. Trying to dumb it down so that you can match up with their smalls with slower-footed, smaller players, less athletic, smaller players, leaves you no room to attack at all and leaves them every room to attack you. So I just thought our entire approach to this basketball game was counterproductive to what the homework that I did provided me in understanding how to attack this team and understanding what gives me the best opportunity and understanding what I should be willing to live with and live without. I thought we approached that so backwards as a unit. And as a result, we did not really compete against this Spurs team, which would have been very predictable if you would have told me before the game this is how we're going to approach. I'd have been like, yeah, you're not going to win. If this is what you're going to do against this particular version of the Spurs without Wemby, you play right into their hands. I would have known that when they showed me the game plan. So I just thought we didn't have a game plan. I don't know if it was the fact that they had been preparing for the last couple of weeks for Wemby to be on the floor. And last minute, when Wemby was no longer out there, they made a makeshift job of creating a game plan. That's what it feels like to me. Once they realized Wemby wasn't out there, they didn't do a thorough enough job of studying the team that Wemby had not been a part of for the last 3 weeks. It was like, okay, Wemby's not out there? Okay, cool. Darvin Ham approach. Well, since they have this, they're going to do that. And this is what we need to do, understanding that this is what comes with that. No. You look at what the team's been doing. That is the only approach in this league. Now, if you're coaching kids and you're coaching, high schoolers, yeah, you can approach it with the hypothetical if this, then that mentality. But in the NBA, you need a direct understanding of what's been going on because these are professionals and guys can be on fire at a all-world level. Guys could be scheming at an all-world level. You know what I mean? These tendencies at this level need to be studied in order for you to have an effective understanding of what to expect from the team. Stars out. Somebody who plays at the NBA level is on the floor getting opportunities that they never had in their lives. You need to know who's hot right now. You need to know that Keldon Johnson's been hitting shots lately. If you go with the hypothetical based on what we've seen from Keldon Johnson over the last 5 years, and you probably expect him to miss a bunch of shots. But if you look at what the data's been showing you for the last 3 games, you realize he's streaking on a hot streak right now. That's data you really freaking need. That hypothetical, well, it's Keldon Johnson, so he's going to break shots crap, it's going to get you beat in this league at this level. And after studying the game the way that I have with these numbers and, doing it my way over the last 3 years, that's what's been very consistent. It's been very effective in helping me predict what we're going to deal with. And so I just absolutely hated what that looked like to me as it pertains to how we approach this game plan. I don't know if people were distracted by the road trip and how, the travel went. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to game plan on the road, dealing with all the travel that we had to deal with, thinking that you're going to have Wemby to deal with, I can imagine that might have been something that they poured a lot of interest in, a lot of focus into stopping Wemby and stopping this team with Wemby. And for him not to be out there, it's just like a sigh of relief. Okay, well, let's just do it this way. As opposed to studying the team that Wemby's not a part of and seeing what exactly needs to be done to effectively have your best options against that squad. I get that. I can see where they probably would have had a much better chance to prepare properly if they would have been in the comfort of Los Angeles in their own homes and in their own routine. Trying to do that on the plane, trying to do that going back and forth. I can understand why they may not have been as prepared as maybe you would expect them to be. And what I'm saying is, that's what it looked like to me, that they were underprepared at a sub-professional level is what it felt like to me. And we can blame personnel, but you have to respect that your game plan has to have those deficiencies that you're working with worked into it. This is why you have to do homework on teams and know what everybody's been up to, because you have certain deficiencies that don't allow for you to not know what's coming at you. That's the reason why you do such extensive homework and study teams in the way that we do. It's because we're not a perfect team like OKC. We need to work around not only what the team's strengths are, but what our deficiencies are while facing those team strengths. And if you can't do that, if you can't do the homework, you're going to effectively find yourself being beaten rather badly. And that's what it really comes down to. I'm a firm believer in, if you prepare, you give yourself the best opportunity to win. But if you don't prepare, you walk away with egg on your face. That's in basketball, that's in life, that's in everything you do. And if you put in the homework, if you do the work and don't skip steps, you'll get the most out of it. So it's like, I was really frustrated with what I saw there, man, with what I saw there. Very frustrated with the Lakers not really appearing to have done the work necessary to have ourselves ready for the Spurs, and prioritizing other things than giving us the best opportunity to attack those specific weaknesses. And that is something that really irks my nerves about not only our team, but it's a lot of teams in this league. As we were talking about in my Laker video at night yesterday, we attack different games. We're playing different games. The priority seems to be perceived, having it so that we're sending out the message to these vets that they can effectively trust will give them their opportunities. You know, guys like Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, they actually have roles on this team. It's because we want to send out the message, hey guys, we value your experience, we value you being long-standing good professionals, and we prioritize you over those who've yet to prove themselves in that regard. That is a game that if I'm playing to win, I likely am going to lose on the basketball floor. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I think the Lakers have been doing for years. Stuff like that works against my strategy, but maybe effectively wins them a different game they playing. That's not going to help me on the basketball floor. You know what I'm saying? That ain't going to provide me the best strategy out there. But it seems to me that we often in Laker land as an organization have prioritized other games above basketball at times. And so that brings me to why our bench is trash right now. Our bench was just fine before we brought those vets back from injury. Maxi Kleber and Gabe Vincent. Before that, we were forced to use young players, and those young players were delivering for us. We may, as an organization or as a coaching staff, have been reluctant to use these young guys. Nick Smith, Bronny James. They didn't necessarily want to use those guys, but you had to use them, and because of it, you were getting what out of them came with doing so. Nick Smith had a game where he go for 5 threes. There was no Gabe Vincent to get in the way of him getting those opportunities. He won you the Portland game. In my opinion, that Portland win does not take place if Nick Smith don't have the game he had off the bench. And I'm telling you, if Gabe Vincent was available to play in that game, we would have played Gabe Vincent instead of Nick Smith, and all of the points and the ball handling and all that stuff that Nick Smith did in that big game would have been basically rendered to 19 minutes of Gabe Vincent jogging around like he did last night. As to which you do not win that Portland game. There's a direct correlation between playing Nick Smith and getting a win and prioritizing Gabe Vincent in those same minutes and not having any points off of your bench at all. And so for me, it's like, when I look at that, I say we were backed into success based on what we would otherwise reluctantly choose to do being better for us than the stuff that we would choose. And this is the problem with the Los Angeles Lakers bench as a whole right now. When Maxi Kleber and Gabe Vincent came back, he was no longer willing to play Nick Smith. You see what I'm saying? He didn't have to. He was able to do the things that made him feel comfortable, and as a result, you got the production that came from what makes him comfortable, which is 2 threes missed, 1 rebound, 4 fouls in 19 minutes of Gabe damn Vincent. I don't need that. There's no upside that can win me a basketball game for that type of production being on the floor for 19 minutes at all. But if Nick Smith plays, maybe he has 4 turnovers and misses a bunch of shots. Maybe he does what he did against the Portland Trail Blazers and provides me enough production to win the game. But if I'm reluctant to play my young players, I ain't never gonna get that type of production. Because Gabe ain't about to give me that type of production. Maxie ain't about to give me that type of production. It is what it is, man. When we didn't have the option of putting those 2 veterans out there, you had more minutes going to a guy who needs minutes in order to feel confident in himself. In Jake LaRavia. Now that we've slotted Gabe Vincent back into the lineup, Jake LaRavia's minutes have been cut. Now that we've slotted Maxi Kleber back into the lineup, Jake LaRavia's minutes have been cut. And Jake LaRavia is not playing well. Because he's the type of guy, as I said last night in my reaction video, that tends to play better when invested in. When you believe in him, he believes in himself. When you don't, he doesn't. It's just what he's showing me. And so when we were forced to start him, when we didn't have LeBron out there, well, I'm not going to say it's part of the problem, but it is just what it is. You didn't have the option of playing LeBron James. So as a result, you had to try Jake LaRavia. And what Jake do? He played like a starter when given starters minutes. You're not getting that production now. That production's not out there. And look, we talked about this on this channel leading up to those guys returning. I said, I'm dreading the return of Gabe Vincent. I told y'all, I'm dreading this because all this good production we're getting out of these young players is going to be gone because this coach is going to run Gabe Vincent. That's his Torian Prince. He going to run him. Whether he's playing well or not, he going to run him. And you're going to live and die with whatever Gabe does, and likely that means you're going to die because Gabe ain't about to do a damn thing. We know that. We know that. And this is what I was dreading. I think we've been maybe a 500 ball club since then. We've been about a 500 ball club since we brought this guy back. It just is what it is. And if he goes down with another injury, you will be forced to use the young players that help you. It's just facts. This is why I wanted us to move Gabe Vincent or waive Gabe Vincent before any of this became possible. Because you got to eliminate the choice that's going to hurt you that the coach is likely going to make. This is the same thing I said about Torian Prince 2 years ago. You gotta, that coach is going to use that player. So you got to remove the option of the coach using that player by removing the player. And nobody seems to understand that. Nobody believes that. But the results is telling them I'm right. The results is showing you that my concern about what was going to come to pass once Gabe and Maxi came back is happening. And what did I tell y'all? When we were playing all them soft teams that couldn't win, the badass teams all at the bottom of the Western Conference, back to back, all these teams that suck, and we went on that 7-game winning streak, I told y'all, this is fool's gold. We're not using our team right. We're playing with our food with bad teams. What's going to happen when you play against good teams, solid teams? This is why I had the urgency I had. While everybody was screaming and yelling the Lakers are the best team in the world, I'm like, man, we're about to get our asses whooped by good teams in a minute. We can't get away with the stuff that we've been doing. You can't get away with Gabe being the number one guy off your bench getting the most minutes. Not against good teams, you're not going to win. We've lost 3 of our last 5 games, Los Angeles. 3 of our last 5. And look, like I said, I never want to see guys get hurt. But if for some reason Gabe Vincent is no longer a part of our lineup, we're going to be forced to use people that are going to help us, man. We're going to be forced into success, which is what's required for JJ apparently in regards to the situation. Because Lord knows he's going to try to avoid it at all costs if it means he has to play one of these young players or 2 of these young players. You got a foot speed issue. Adou, Nick Smith, these guys push the pace. You got a foot speed issue. And you put Gabe Vincent next to Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, you wonder why the internet is killing Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves right now. Well, they can't keep up with nobody. They're not supposed to. We know who they are before they walk in the door. It's about who else we put on the floor to supplement the issue. It's the same thing I said about the game plan. You know who you are. That's why you need to know what the other team's up to, so you know how to attack it based on who your deficiencies and your abilities. You can't just put any old body next to players who have certain deficiencies and then expect any success. No, they're going to get blamed for it because they're the stars, but they ain't the reason things are going wrong. Things are going wrong because of the people you put next to them who's supposed to be helping them, who are unable to do so because they got the same problems they got. It's a very simple thing. You have a foot speed issue, put fast players on the floor. You got an age issue, put young players on the floor. You got a size issue, put tall players on the floor. You got a defensive issue, put defensive players on the floor. But like I said, this organization is doing other things. They focus on other things. They're playing different games they're trying to win. They don't give us the best strategy to win. And until our organizations gets that together in all angles, until we figure out how to prioritize basketball above all other things, we're going to always fall short of teams like OKC who don't have this problem. This is what it is. And so that's my thing, man. I expect the Lakers to be a 500 ball club until they remove Gabe Vincent from this lineup. They're going to be a 500 ball club. I'm telling y'all the truth. This is exactly who we are so long as this is who we use it. Playing small ball, being small, it doesn't work in this league. Being a deficient defensive team doesn't work in this league. Not having spacing also doesn't really work in this league. But you got to give up something. You don't have 12 two-way guys. So something you got to be able to live without. And to be honest with you, the stuff we're choosing to live without, we can't afford to live without. So we better figure something else out. My solution has been and will remain more Adou, more Nick Smith, call up Chris Magnon, make him part of a regular rotation. And you will have the foot speed, the length, the youth, the upside for the chance of productivity beyond what it is that you expect, coming from young players who are only going to get better the more opportunities they get. It is what it is. You got to play the young guys. At least they can stumble into a big game. A guy like Gabe Vincent ain't stumbling into nothing. He going to shoot his same old 2-3 shots, all of them 3-point shots. He might make 1 or 2 of them. He going to get hunted on the other end. And that's it. That's all he got for you. Until you sit him down, he going to jog back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He'll probably make good switches. You know what I'm saying? He going to make good switches. He might make a pass once in a while. But the majority of the night, he's not going to do anything for you. Majority of the night, he's going to jog a lot. As long as you have him out there, he's going to jog. He's going to launch a random 3, likely something that's completely untimely. He ain't making it. And that'll be one of his 3 attempts on the night. I'm cool, bro. I don't need none of that. I don't ever need any of that. I will never need what he does, man. I want to make this very clear. I have no use in my NBA, the NBA that I like. I have no use for a small guard that doesn't play make for others, that can't jump, and may make good switches, but when he's switched on to, it's too small, so he's getting shot over. I'll never need him to be so good at making those reads and yet so deficient even when the proper read is made. I will never need that. That's equivalent to him making the wrong read.
Outside. God damn.
It just is the same thing as him missing out on the read. And so at this point, it's like, yo, man, if y'all love Gabe Vincent's mind so much, make him a coach, bro. Make him an assistant coach. He don't have to have a roster spot eating up playing time and all of this just for us to expose all his deficiencies, push it to the front of the line, and then say, oh, we don't have a good bench. No, you're choosing to use a player the most that can do the least for you off of your bench. If he happens to no longer be a part of that bench, you will be forced to do the stuff that you're reluctant to do and get the results that come from doing so, which is better for you. This is just what it is, Lakers. This is just what it is. And at some point in time, we're going to have to start holding JJ accountable for this. Because every time I look up, it's somebody blaming the players. Oh, Austin Reeves ain't doing enough. Luka Doncic ain't doing enough. They're not fast enough. No, we're not getting enough out of LeBron James. Nah, I'm tired of that. That conversation is not the real conversation. The real conversation is, who is he have on the floor with these people when they're down there? Because we know who they are. And we know they do the most heavy lifting for our team. So if we don't have them down there with the players that complement the best, then it's going to always be them getting the brunt of the blame. But it ain't their fault that they down there with Gabe Vincent and Maxi Clay, but it ain't their fault that this coach refused to use the young players that can provide them the upside that complements them. If we were doing things correctly, Aldo Thero would be getting 15, 20 minutes a night. If we were doing things correctly, Jared Vanderbilt would not be benched for 7 straight games when our defense is like 18th and 19th in the league. You can't get away with that. Now, he may not be good at certain other things, but you damn sure can't get away with him not getting any minutes and then tell me you're happy living with Gabe Vincent doing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 3 fouls in 19 minutes. Because he makes proper reads and doesn't mess up the spacing. He ain't making no shots. How is he not messing up the spacing? He wide open half the time he shoot. How the hell is he not messing up the spacing? Like, this is the type of stuff that I just, for me, JJ Redick and his team of coaches are galaxy brain in this bench situation. We can't find a solution. I don't understand where's my team? I don't understand the team. No, the team is fine. The team is fine, JJ. It's the same team you were winning games with to start the season, except for 2 things. You took the kids off the floor that provided you speed, ball handling, upside, defensive prowess, and you inserted the old guys who literally don't do anything anymore. Ain't nothing wrong with the team. It's something wrong with you, JJ. Because this is your choice. You're making these choices, and you're making our team suffer because of it. And I'm telling you, you can fall out of favor with us fast as hell because we have bad coach fatigue, man. Bad coach fatigue, bro. I can see if this is the first time we had this problem, but it's not. The same thing I was saying yesterday in my video. It's not the first time we had these problems, bro. We've been dealing with bad coaches for a long time, bro. So it ain't nothing for us to lose patience with you. Nothing at all. Because we've already been cracked on our patience. Darvin Ham wore us down. Byron Scott wore us down. Frank Vogel wore us down. Hell, I go all the way back before those guys being worn down by coaches, man. Only coach I ever really liked on this damn team was Phil Jackson. Everybody else worn me out at some point. Seriously. Luke Walton? Are you kidding me? I can't even figure out which one of these people were worse. They were all terrible. And they all did stuff like this. It pissed me off every single game, bro. So if you think I have any patience for anything that you're going to do that reminds me of them, you're going to find out I do not. None. I have no patience for that, bro. None. Dealing with bad coaches my entire life, bro. 30 plus years, and I only had a good coach for like 7 seasons. Y'all got to get y'all act together with this particular coach, bro, because he's starting to remind me of all these badass coaches that we don't like, that are hard-headed as hell, that do things that hurt our team, that don't use the options that are best for him because he believes in some shit that does nothing for him. I am not about to deal with this without calling for people's job. I'm telling you, bro, my patience is gone. My patience is absolutely shot, Lakers. You've worn me out, bro. And what I saw last night was more Darvin Hamism, bro. I'm telling you, no more patience. I'm gonna ask JJ to get his act together, man. You got only a few more times for me to watch Gabe Vincent run back and run forth and do nothing, bro. You only got a few more times before I start saying, yo, hey, get him out of here, bro. Because what he did in the playoffs last year, playing all them damn players and not using any of his bench at all, and letting us get smoked by a Minnesota team in 5 damn games. Listen, man. You're in a bad spot with me, JJ. I'm telling you, bro. You're in a bad spot with me because I don't really have the patience. As you can clearly see, I don't have it, man. I wish this was the first time we had these troubles so I would have all of the rope that I gave to all them bad coaches before you to give you. I was patient with Darvin Ham. I was patient with Frank Vogel. I was very patient with Luke Walton. I was patient with Byron Scott. I was patient with, who else have we had in this team, man? Some of them dudes, I don't even remember they were here, man. Rudy Tomjanovich wasn't here for like 5 minutes. Hell, Dale Harris and the stuff he used to do to piss me off when I was a child. Who else have we had, bro? That dude that's coaching New York right now. The brother with the bald head. Like, all them people, they all irritated me deeply, deeply, y'all. All of them. They all irritated me deeply, y'all. And with the exception of Frank Vogel, none of them delivered on a championship. None of them. And Frank Vogel, when he left this team, the decisions he was making on his final year were so damn egregious that I was ready to fire him well before people fired him. Well before people fired him. So you gotta understand, JJ, this is who you're dealing with. This is the franchise fan base that you're dealing with, bro. We don't have no patience for none of this crap you got going on with Gabe Vincent, bro. We sat through Russell Westbrook and the 3-headed small ball lineups that killed us on the boards every single night, that can never beat anybody, ever. And Russell sitting here blaming the fans as he looks like he couldn't even get his head together to play a simple game of basketball for us in our building. And it was all our fault. Bro, that Taurean Prince politics with Darvin Ham and all the stupidity and losses that came with that, the small ball lineups that continue day in and day out to just eat away at my patience, bro. Y'all don't understand, man. I don't think people really get it. I don't think people really understand, bro. I am severely burnt out of this organization and this bullcrap. I'm severely burnt out. I'm just be honest with y'all. Severely, man. As somebody who follows this team as deeply and closely as I have for as long as I have, I am burnt out, bro. We can only get right at this point. Hey, how we doing? All we can do at this point is get right. Anything less than that is going to have me cussing into the screen like I don't have any sense, man. And that's where I'm at. It ain't even about how bad these things are. It's just the fatigue, the pile-up of ineptitude and bad decisions. I am tired of the ineptitude of this franchise, yo. I'm tired of it. And people blaming the only people that are doing heavy lifting for us. LeBron's too old. Luka ain't doing enough. Austin ain't doing. I'm tired of that. That's growing old quickly. When I know the root of the problems that we have very little to do with those people. And most of what makes us successful have everything to do with those people. Yeah, they're not perfect. They have their issues, this and that. But you ain't winning a single game without at least one of those superstars on the floor. Especially the way we utilize this roster. You would be the Washington Wizards without those three players. And so this is where I'm at, man. I need the Lakers. I really, really need the Lakers to do something for me, man. I need y'all to get Gabe Vincent off of this team. I'm sorry, Gabe. I really am, bro, but we did this for 3 years. First year, injury year. Second year, Cardi G. Third year, overused, little production. I am so done. So done with Gabe Vincent. That may have been the worst contract we've signed over the last 6 years. It may have been the worst one. And it's just been a drag the whole time, bro. And I said it when we signed this dude. I knew it wasn't no good. It's like, no, he's not that. I mean, I was like, okay, well, he played in the finals against the Denver Nuggets. He sucked in the finals against the Denver Nuggets. But the series before that, he was pretty good. And he had a good year with the Miami Heat. Maybe he's not that bad, right? Maybe. We can get something out of him, you know, maybe. But he doesn't have any athleticism, so he's not a particular playmaker. Everybody was saying, oh, he's a point guard. No, he's not. He's going to play the point guard position based on his height, not his attributes. He ain't playmaking for a damn thing. No. If you get 4 assists out of that, man, you think it's a good game in that regard. He's not making anybody better at all. Oh, he's this great defensive player. He's my height. How good is he going to be defensively? How good can he be defensively in this league at 6 feet, bro? Like, certain stuff is like, okay, fine. You want to sign this dude to a 3-year deal, $15 million a year? That's based on him getting to the finals. Okay, that's cool. He got to the finals. First year, as already displayed, hurt the whole season. Second year, jogging all year long. Just jogging, no production, nothing. Just running like a person on the street runs. This is what he was doing on your basketball floor for $15 million. And now, this coach wants to turn him into a glorified Taurean Prince minus the efficient shooting. At least with Taurean, he was hitting threes consistently from the corner. At least Taurean would drive at the rim, get to the line sometimes, at least. At least he was tall enough to not be a deficient player on the basketball floor. You could play multiple positions, at least. Gabe ain't doing any of that, bro. None. And so this is what it is, man. This is my first Laker rant of the year. I haven't ranted at all this year because I haven't needed to. He wasn't out there. We were a good team. And a lot of y'all will say, well, I'm scapegoating him and blaming him for every problem that we have. Maybe I am. Maybe that's what the fatigue has done at this point. But I can assure you, the eye test tells me he is the problem for most of the things that we got going on out here. Because if you eliminate him and insert the people that coach is benching, suddenly you got the production that was helping us win. Suddenly you got the players that was helping us win and the roles that was helping us win to start the season. You got Jake LaRavia hustling out there. Now we got Adu Thero available to us to run around, bounce around, dunk, and all this different stuff, defend. Nick Smith, great ball handling guard with special skills that can score the ball. Ain't none of that on the floor. None of it on the floor, and then people want to say we got the worst bench in the world. Yeah, we do, because we're using the worst bench player in the league. And then nobody else on this team profiles to score the ball on the bench. Nobody profiles to score the ball on the bench. The defensive players, man. This is the problem the Lakers had last year. It wasn't that the bench was bad. They just put a bunch of defenders on the bench. Guys who don't score on the bench. So, of course, you're going to have the worst scoring bench in the league. You didn't have any scorers out there. But now we have some. But we're just not using them. Nick Smith is the answer there. You need some scoring off the bench. With the reinsertion of Marcus Smart and Nick Smith, you should be able to get some scoring off your bench if you utilize the guys correctly. And I tell y'all, Chris Mannion is a two-way wing. I don't need him in the G, man. I need him up here with us. And if I give a healthy dose to him, Adu Thero, Nick Smith off of my bench, when the stars sit down, those guys may make some mistakes. But at least they'll be doing something positive out there. For certain. because they're good players who are developing. They're going to do something good. The upside is there. One of them going to have a big game here and there. Abdu's going to have a double-double. You understand what I'm saying? This is possible, man. This is not possible when you have old guys who are headed the other way, who profile as joggers and injury risk. No, man. Look, it's fair for people to say the Lakers have the worst bench in the league right now because of what they see. I will not argue with you, but do understand that the stuff that makes this team not the worst bench in the league is not being used at all, man. It's just not being used. And people saying we need to make a trade. You may not be able to make a trade without making your team worse. You see what I'm saying? You may not be able to make a trade without making your team worse. You may not be able to make a trade without giving away a pick that you're probably going to be best for needing or having rather in the future. 2033 rather, 2031, whatever the year would be. I'm not sure what's going to happen then. I don't know where my franchise is going to be at that point. I don't know if we would have kept Luka that long. I don't know if Austin's still going to be a Laker at that point. We hope. We know Bron going to be gone. How do I know I'm not going to be in a situation where that's a tank year for me? And I'm going to need my pick and it's going to be somewhere else because I traded away for some role player this season to patch up a problem that I don't actually have. If not for just choosing to not use the players that provide me solutions to the problem. The problems that I have as a Laker fan with my bench, the solutions are here. We have the solutions to those problems. We got them. I can name several players in that G League that immediately make my bench better just for believing in them and giving them opportunities. They may be underdeveloped at this point, but that goes away once I start giving them the minutes to assure that they're not. And I'm a firm believer that you don't have younger guys relying on one another too much, because that means you're watch to wizards. Young guys with upsides relying on one another too much is a problem. You don't want that problem. So I respect that that's not something I want to set myself up for either. A good balance. You know what I'm saying? Good balance. I'm not getting rid of Marcus Smart. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping him. So if Nick Smith is having an 0 for 7 game, I sit him down. I got Marcus out there. If Chris Magnon's having a really bad game or something like that, of course I got Jake LaRavia. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm using underdeveloped players to the highest order of degree. Most of the time, Luka and Bron and Austin gonna be on the floor any damn way. Rui and them, they're gonna be on the floor anyway if I'm rotating things correctly. It's not that I would have too many of those guys if I were to just fix this problem right here in this regard. It's not gonna be too hard to do either. And so this is my solution. You got Bronny James as well. You got Nick Smith. You got Chris Magnon. You got Adu Thiro. You got what's the young fella's name? Getting a few of them lost in my head right now. But you have guys to play, man. You got guys that you can play that are gonna project to be scorers, project to be better defensive rebounders, offensive rebounders. Project to maybe stumble into a 25, 30-point game. They're there, man. That's really what it comes down to. They're there. You don't have to necessarily make a trade to patch up some of these problems that we have with our bench. You don't have to. It would be helpful if we did. We'd be more secure if we did. But if for some reason we don't make a trade, fam, it is not the end of the world. Because like I said, all these guys got to do is be on the floor for 10, 15 minutes. Luka, Austin, and LeBron are going to do the heavy lifting, man. Aiden's going to do the heavy lifting. I don't need them to come in and make like they're superstars. I just need them to come in and play good team ball for 15 minutes. Play some good garbage time minutes on nights where we got it under control. Come in and give Luka a breather in the third quarter. You telling me Nick Smith can't do that? With LeBron on the floor, with Austin on the floor? Like, I'm just not going to buy that we have the worst bench in the world when I have so many prospects in my G League and on my bench not playing that I believe can actually ball some. You're not going to get me to buy into that. Not a chance, man. And so until the Lakers figure this out, until they start doing what it is I'm telling them they need to do, they're likely going to be a 500 ball club waiting for a trade to make it easier for them to pallet the solutions that they need to in order to be successful. Because that's really what it's about. It's trusting and believing that the solutions that you have can actually fix the problem. If you don't believe the solutions you have can fix the problem, then you always perceive that you don't have solutions. But if you look toward what it is that you refuse to, and given an opportunity, you will find that your best chance at solving your problems is in those solutions that you reluctantly go toward. And that's it, man. That is really my take on this, man. I do not like where we are headed right now as a 500 ball club over the last 5-6 games. I do not like what I'm seeing here. And it's exactly what I was worried about, which is why I'm so frustrated. Video 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.